Well, hello and welcome to a new episode of the Beyond the 80 podcast brought to you by Neds. I'm your host, Dan Talentai, and as always, I'm joined by some very special guests right across the game of rugby league to talk about everything that's going on and most importantly, have a bit of fun along the way. I'm very excited to welcome in two special guests today. Some would say friends, but we might just say teammates.
I wouldn't say friends.
Welcome to the show. First of all, Josh Aloiai, you wouldn't say friends.
Hey, how's it going? Hey.
Oh, very good. Matt Eisenhuth, welcome, mate. It's a strong start for Josh. He hasn't missed you straight off the bat.
Yeah, no, we're acquaintances.
Okay.
At best.
Well, boys, we record this midweek. Obviously, there's been a fair bit of kind of isolation training and that sort of stuff. Josh, you've been by far the most active, it looks like, with everything on social media. Mate, really looks like you've been working hard during this mini break.
Yeah, I have been trying. I've been trying to keep a good routine and have a pretty decent head out each day and stuff like that. Had a few body scans and all that today, which went really well. I heard Isai's wasn't too good. He's put on a little bit of fat, but that's all right. That's isolation for you. Mine was all right.
Isai, what's the chat been amongst the boys? First of all, how much comment has there been about Josh Aloiai's social media habits in this time?
Oh, yeah. There actually has been a fair bit of banter around it. The opinion amongst the group is you don't have to be putting training on social media. That doesn't mean that you're actually training. So a lot of the boys are actually working hard behind closed doors, and they feel like they don't need to put it on social media to prove it to anyone out there.
That's shady. that's throwing shade, man.
Overall, though, Isai, I guess the boys have been in pretty good spirits. So I guess it's a bit of a weird time for everyone, but it's just about kind of staying in communication and, like you said, staying in a good routine.
Yeah, I think it took, like for myself, probably took that first week or so to sort of get used to it. I think I was in a bit of a different situation. I was going through a rehab phase. Once I sort of got into the routine of
what happened? What happened with your rehab? Can you tell us what happened? What happened? What did you hurt yourself? I heard something happened when you get a scan as well. That might be worth sharing.
No, yeah, I hurt my shoulder at the last day of training before the competition got cancelled, and then went to get a scan on my shoulder, an X-ray, and I was in so much pain during the X-ray that I fainted and smacked my head on the X-ray machine. And ended up with a couple stitches in my head.
That's outstanding. But the head's okay now. The head's okay now.
Oh, yeah, debatable. The missus is still happy, but Josh will argue that again.
Well, mate, I'm glad you boys are staying safe relatively. Thank you again for joining us today on the B80 podcast. As I said, we've got a bit of a fun show lined up. Have a little quick look through the news, and then we'll get into a little bit of an interesting activity, which I think will bring out the competitive juices in both of you. We'll get straight into the news right after this.
That's a win. This NRL season, take it to the Neds level.
Well, thank you for joining us on the Beyond the 80 podcast with our special guests today in Josh Aloiai and Matt Eisenhuth. Gentlemen, probably big news since we last recorded an episode just before Easter with an official date for return locked in. I kind of guess that May 28 news must have been pretty exciting to hear, Josh, when that came out.
Yeah, definitely something that really lifted our spirits, especially being in isolation. So I think we're all just working really hard and hoping that that May 28th day does happen. It doesn't get pushed back. And yeah, we're definitely in a lot better spirits now.
Isai, how much does that kind of add for the boys when you know that you might only have 6 or 7 weeks until you're back playing again? Like, does that kind of change and lift the intensity a bit?
Yeah, 100%. I think the hardest thing those first couple of weeks was you don't know. You had no idea of when you'll be back or how long you need to be doing this sort of training. So to have that date specifically penciled in, I guess, you've got however long back until that date. So right, this is the goal. This is what I need to do each week. And then hopefully before then, the goal I think is to be back, training as a team before that date anyway. So, I've heard a couple of dates tossed around the 3rd or the 4th that month. So, if that is the case, that's only, 3 weeks away. So,
Yeah.
you got a goal of working by yourself or, in your little groups until then, and then hopefully be back with the team. So that's really lifted the spirits.
Has there been much communication at all, probably for either of you, I guess, about how much of a pre-season you'd need? Like, do you guys think you'd need much of a break between kind of this isolation and then just kind of coming back into the games, or?
Look,
need and want are completely different things.
Okay, so you probably want a couple of months.
On the podcast. I think, honestly, in my opinion, if you're doing the right thing during this break, then you wouldn't need too much. You wouldn't need more than a week or so to build a bit of resilience, a week or two to build a bit of resilience.
Yep.
But, look, just as long as you're not underdone, I don't think we'll need too much because we're trying hard to maintain all our preseason gains that we made and everything like that. So, what do you reckon, Isaac?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we trained for 3-4 months hard slog of actual preseason training before 2 weeks of competition, and then it breaks up. So, our fitness levels for running around a field are high. Your match fitness probably was 1 week away from being at its peak, I reckon. 3 weeks of footy, you're back to your match fitness. So, training wise and that initial body fitness, I think the boys will be sweet if they've been maintaining it and working hard individually.
Yeah, well, like you said, I'm sure we'll get a little bit more clarity around kind of return dates and that sort of thing to come. But at least to have that date at the end of May, and like you said, hopefully if it can kind of keep going, then that would be a great thing for not only your players, but your kind of members and fans and everyone who's just missing their rugby league right now. So
yeah, 100%.
Well, that pretty much covers everything you need to know in the news right now. Up next, we're going to dig into our book of rugby league feuds, and we're really going to try and get to the bottom of this quote-unquote acquaintanceship between Josh Aloiai and Matt Eisenhuth. We're going to get straight into it right after this.
That's a win. This NRL season, take it to the Neds level.
We might as well dive straight into this one. You've all heard of the great rugby league feuds, New South Wales and Queensland, Samoa and Tonga, Souths and the Roosters. And I think it's time to officially add another one into the list, Josh Aloiai and Matt Eisenhuth. Is it an official feud? Is that what we're going with here?
Well, it's been running for about 4 years now. So
look, I just a little peek behind the curtain. When we first got in touch with you boys about today's episode, I just want to read your two comments out. So, Matt, you replied with, haha, yeah, keen. Can't wait to expose some truths. And Josh, you said, sure, I have Pandora's box waiting to be opened. Matt, I guess you replied first. We'll give you the first say. Is there anything you want to kind of say about when this began and how it kind of first evolved?
Look, we actually spoke about this. I reckon it was during this preseason. One of our dark days where we actually chat to each other a bit. And Josh seems to know the day, like what actually happened, whereas I don't really know. I can't pinpoint a specific event that's kicked it all off. But it's been a long battle, but I feel like I'm always on top.
Okay, so Josh, you think there is a date, there is a start point?
Yeah, I just noticed that Eisenhuth got a little bit too much lip, and there hasn't been people that have addressed it, and so I thought one day I would get one of my other front rowers, and we'll smash Iso at training. So we were doing a non-contact drill, like a little opposed drill, and as soon as Iso got the ball, I think it might have been me and Tom Mikaele, we pummeled him. I cross-faced him across the head on the ground, and then he got up. Do you remember swinging at me, Iso?
Yeah, that was during this preseason.
Yeah, that was this preseason. And then you swung at me, missed me, and you hit Tommy Mikaele in the face because I escaped. He was that second marker. Anyway, from that point this preseason, it's every time we can get our hands on each other, we do, pretty much.
I think deep down he has a bit of resentment towards me because I think it might have been my first NRL preseason at the Tigers. We're doing a beach session, and he's decided to run in between myself and.
Was that the Sandhill Warrior? Was that one of those ones?
No, this was another one. I can't remember where. It was just like a big wrestle session on the beach.
Yep.
And we're in like little teams, and Josh Aloiai had a carry in between me and Big Ava Siamanafungai. And I've collected him. I've whacked him basically, and he's claimed that he's claimed that my shoulder hit his jaw, and he's broken his jaw.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't just claim that. I just had 3 fractures and a jaw reconstruction that also agree with me. But anyway, yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you run up my right shoulder. So it's all good.
Well, we've seen this developing, obviously, on Instagram a little bit, probably between you most. I mean, we speak about it playing out on the training field, but it's mostly played out on Instagram. I just want to take you back to July last year.
Beautiful town of Townsville, I'm guessing.
The boys, we'd flown up to Townsville.
Yeah.
Most importantly, really needing a win during the Origin period. That was the most important thing. And Josh, we find you on Instagram by the pool. Can you just talk us through kind of what had happened there and how you got to that point?
All right, we'll rewind it back a little bit. So at first, I went to Chris Lawrence. I knew Chris Lawrence was Matt Eisenhuth's roomie. And I said to him, bro, can you please give me your room key? I'm just going to... And he knew what it was for. He knew me.
But what happened before that?
And Chris... before that. What did
I do to you for retaliation?
Before that. Yeah. Anyway, let me get to that. We'll get to that. Anyway, Chris Lawrence, he's rock solid. He doesn't give me the room key. Anyway, I have to go to reception and pretend to be Matt Eisenhuth and get his room key. So when Matt's out doing stuff throughout the day, I go and I help myself to his bag of clothes. And I thought, oh, look, if we get a win, everybody's probably going to, go out and do what they need to do that night and hang out, and he'll need clothes for that. So I thought I'll go sit by the pool and record myself throwing every single piece of clothing he brought to Townsville in the pool. And so, my
did you see this on Instagram, Iso? Was that the first point that you saw it?
So there have been a few little pranks here and there. The trip, the flight up. I've got him a few flights up, waking him up with some fingers in the mouth, and
he did too.
Pulling him by the nose and stuff like that. But before he went and got my clothes, I was walking past the room, and up in the little fly screen, you could see the card, like the key to get in, hidden it behind the fly screen. I'm like, oh, whose room's this? So I've taken the key out and opened it, and I've gone in and I see it. To my eyes, unbelievable pot of gold. Josh Aloiai snoring his head off asleep, and I just had a bottle of water. So I've just ran in.
That's right.
Squirted the water in his mouth all over his face, and that just set the big fella off.
Yeah, okay, that's true.
That's why my clothes ended up in the pool.
And I mean, fortunately, we were in Townsville. It was July, but it was still pretty warm. Did your clothes dry in time for what you needed?
Yeah, well, I didn't really need any clothes other than the jeans to go out with afterwards, because I was confident we were going to get a win. So, like, the best part of a away trip is you get a win, you can go have a few beers afterwards. So I rushed down to the washing machine and got a bit of washing powder and washed them, and then hung them out to dry, and we got the golden point victory that night. And then
we did drop goal.
The baked beans were ready to go that night.
Yeah, nice. Josh, I'll just throw back to you here. We had a great little Q&A the other week. You were asked the question about which player talks the most rubbish in the team. I just want to read your official response here. You said, quote, Matt Eisenhuth by a country mile, and he deserves every piece of torment he gets from me.
Yeah. So whenever my Instagram's a little bit quiet, I'll get a fair few messages saying, no pranks on Eisenhuth this week. What's happening? So I really need to rank it up a little bit and be a little bit more active. So watch the space, and it's like a bit more of a hard time.
As we record right now, who's got more wins? Like, who's in front?
I'd say me for sure.
Well, I don't think so, because literally it's never ending. Like, if he does something to me, I do something back. A little bit worse. And then he does something to me, I do something back. Or I might do something, then he'll do something worse. So,
okay, well,
I think we're pretty even.
But he's got a pretty strong team around him, and I've got a lot of enemies. That's the thing, isn't it?
Very true. Yeah.
I've got a lot of people that have joined the Eisenhuth bandwagon against me now.
All right. Well, what we might do is I've got a little something lined up. Which might need help settle out who's in front. All right. So we're going to have a little break, and then right after this, we're going to get into our final game for today, and it's got a little bit of a consequence.
That's a win. This NRL season, take it to the Neds level.
All right, Josh and Matt, thank you for your time on the Beyond the 80 podcast today. We've got a little game called Me Against Them. And what we're going to do is we're going to try and find out who's really ahead in the feud. All right.
How do you do that?
Here's what's going to happen. You're each going to get a question or two about your own career that you've got to try and answer. Okay. It's just a little bit of trivia. Nothing too difficult. A little bit of trivia. All right. It's about your own career. You get 1 point for a correct answer. And what we've also got is we've also got 1 or 2 questions about the other person's career. Okay.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So obviously you'll get a point there for a correct answer, and then we'll total up the 2, see who gets the most right. Now I've got a little proposition just to make it a little bit more interesting. All right. If you lose, you've got to post a photo on Instagram with the caption. All right. Now, no, it's got to be on the feed, not the story, so it doesn't disappear. All right. Here's what you need to write. Here's what you need to write. I know we joke a lot, but I'm really thankful to have @whoever in our team at West Tigers. He's a great player, but he's also a really great guy, and I'm lucky to call him a teammate and a friend.
Oh, to sell my soul, do I? That's what you're asking me to do. Sell my soul. If I lose
what are we thinking? Do you reckon we can go into this?
I'm a gambling man, so I'm ready to go.
If we lose, that's getting posted, and no deleting it straight away.
With what photo?
I've got
speculations on the photo.
No, it has to be a photo that Dan provides.
I've got a photo of you guys. Some nice
Because
celebrations. Some nice celebration photo of you guys together. So
there's a good preseason isolation photo of Josh Aloiai going around. People might have seen on Instagram. A lot of people have been sharing it.
All right, well, I can promise you it's not that one.
Good heavy 118 kgs.
Here's what we might do. We might set a rule. Right, we're recording this on a Thursday. It's in the afternoon. We'll put this podcast out probably Thursday afternoon, Thursday night. You've got to leave the photo up there until at least Friday.
No, it's got to
be. It's got to be there forever.
All right. I'm in with that. All right, I'm in with that. Okay. So I think going to be some great content, and no like clarifying. Oh, this was only.
No, there's no clarifying. We know. It's a man's rule. Yeah. It's a man's rule.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the stakes. Josh, we might start with you.
Okay. Okay. All
right. What we're going to do is we've got 2 questions about your career.
Wait.
Okay?
I heard some typing there. I reckon Josh has gone to Google straight away here.
No Google.
2 questions about your career. All right. 2 questions about your career.
Yeah.
Question 1. Josh, you've played 2 test matches in your career for Samoa. Can you tell me who they were against?
Tonga and Papua New Guinea. Bang.
1 from 1. So not too difficult. All right. And here's your second question about your own career. Josh, you've played 74 games in your career, okay? Who was your 50th game against?
Oh, my 50th game.
Newcastle.
No.
Parramatta.
Was that like
Bulldogs.
Oh, how long do I have for this?
No.
I'll give you another 5 seconds.
What was that?
Go on. Start writing out the post.
Oh, damn.
All right. I've got to stop it. It was actually at Campbelltown, and it was against the Canberra Raiders.
Oh, the Raiders. Yeah, that's right.
Joey Leilua went absolutely crazy in the second half. We'll move on from that one very quickly.
We won't talk about that.
All right. So 1 from 2. Well, Iso, 2 questions to you about your own career now.
Yeah. Have you ever ran hard?
Question 1 here. Question 1, same as Josh. Wow. Yeah. Question 1 here, same as Josh. Who was your 50th NRL game against? And this might be a little bit easier because it was only last year. So who was your 50th NRL game against?
Newcastle Knights.
Correct. 1 from 1. All right. Question 2 here. Question 2. Matt, you've played against every NRL team in your career, and you've beaten every team bar 1. Which team have you never beat in your career?
Never beat? Oh, sugar.
9, 8.
No. Be quiet.
6.
5.
4. 3. Beep.
Might be a weird one, but I would say Canterbury.
No, you've beaten Canterbury. The only team you've never beaten is the Cronulla Sharks.
On debut, yeah, true.
On debut as well. Obviously, that unfortunate one at Leichhardt over last year. Oh, look, yeah. Unfortunately, that's we've got the scores. The scores are level. Okay. So we're each on 1 point, and now it's the questions about the other person's career. And I think the best thing about this is because it also will now determine who's the better bloke as well. Like, who knows,
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
I barely know his name. I couldn't care less.
Josh, 2 questions here. 2 questions for you about Matt. So Matt made his first grade debut in 2017, and he played 11 games for the club that year. Right, that was his debut year.
Yeah.
Who was named the club's rookie of the year that year?
Ooh.
That year.
Ooh.
Moses Sully?
No.
Isaac, do you know?
Yeah. Do I get an extra point if I get it?
Matt.
No, it's not your question, mate.
No. Who was it?
I shouldn't.
Was it Jacob Little?
It was Jacob Little. Yeah, it was Jacob Little.
I knew it was one of them.
Lids
Dang.
obviously played that one game in 2016, but had his full season in 17.
I would have got that wrong. I would have said Isan.
Oh, yeah, true.
Oh, yeah.
He got it next year, didn't he?
Not sure. Actually, not sure. All right.
I don't know. Who cares? He's not here anymore.
Okay, I'll give you a little true or false to finish on here, Josh. Okay. True or false?
Yeah.
Matt scored 3 tries in his career. That's a fact. He has never lost a game in which he scored a try. Is that true or false?
False.
True.
It's true.
Oh, no.
See, I'm the point of difference when I score tries.
Do you know those games, Isaac? Do you know the ones?
I know Parramatta was one because I remember slapping his head so hard I nearly gave him a concussion.
I gouged me. And then the next one was against Para again, wasn't it?
Yeah, true, yeah.
And then the Broncos last year.
Yeah, at Suncorp Stadium.
Yeah, some would say I won us that game, not
How many did you work for? How many would you say you worked for?
Well, I ran 20 metres in 2 of them. I've jogged over the line in every single one of them.
Great support play, bro. You're a fullback.
All right. So that takes you to a grand total of 1. Now, Isaac, you need one of these next 2 to win.
Oh, God.
One of these next 2 to win.
Yeah, but I don't care. I don't know about Josh. All right, let's go.
Well, similar to Josh, you'll have one question and then you'll have a true or false. So
true or false.
You can have a guess. All right.
50-50, yeah.
This is the other one. So Josh Aloiai joined West Tigers in 2016. Okay, that's true. That was the first time he signed with the club. How many times has he re-signed with the club since?
Oh, he's not getting this.
What year? Sorry, can you repeat?
So Josh joined the club in
2016.
For the start of the 2016 season. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's when he signed. How many times has he re-signed since?
Since then. Well, he just re-signed this year, and then he would have re-signed after that year. That was 18.
Go with it then, brother.
3.
Josh, what do you know?
Of course I know.
How many times, mate?
You tell him. Dan.
It's 3 times, mate. 2016, re-signed on a 1-year deal. Then he signed a 2-year deal in 2017. And then he signed again in a 2-year deal last year. I'll give you this last one as well.
He follows my career so closely because he actually secretly is in love.
All right, well, last one here. Let's see if you can get 2 from 2 on Josh's career. True or false? Josh was named for the Italy squad in the 2017 Rugby League World Cup. Is that true or false?
That'd be true. He reckons he's something.
That is true. And Josh, you have to pull out for injury? Is that right?
I think they found that I'm not a real Italian.
No, he put down his name for eligibility to try and get out a preseason. That's all it was for.
But that's true. You were actually named in their squad to begin with, Josh.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember.
Well, he eats enough. He eats enough pasta and pizza. So he thought, oh, I must be eligible.
Wow. Well, what an incredible finish there. That unfortunately leaves Izo with the win. Josh, you'll need to post on Instagram, mate. I'll send through the photo and the copy. I've got a nice photo of Matt kind of smiling after one of those tries against the Eels. So that'll be
unbelievable.
A Matt, I'm really looking forward to that.
This is a glorious moment for our acquaintanceship. Is that a word? Acquaintanceship? Instead of friendship?
I really like that. I really like
Got
that.
me good.
Oh, well, boys, we might have to get you back on another time and see if we can settle the scores again. Thank you for coming on today, Josh.
Thanks for having us.
What's on for the
Yeah,
rest of the
thank
week,
you.
mate? What's on for the rest of the week, Josh?
Oh, nothing. I'll get this post up and just get it out of the way.
Matt, undoubtedly, Matt, just back in the gym tomorrow morning. No photos, just hard work, mate.
Mate, that's it. Everything's going on behind closed doors with me. So,
A lot of eating.
yeah, work in silence. Work in silence.
Well, boys, thank you very much for your time today. Thank you to Neds for supporting this episode and to you, the listener, for tuning in. Make sure you keep the iTunes reviews and ratings coming. We love reading those, and we'll catch you next time on the Beyond the 80 podcast.